Good evening. I wanted to do a virtual lesson since the kids will be out for a while. That way they're still getting a lesson and they are practicing their clock and things like that. So this video is for group 2. All the groups will get a separate video. Parents, the writing packets are all due Monday regardless of the due date listed on them. So since they're not doing a whole lot of anything else, I figured we could get those packets out of the way. And there's not that many more packets left. Group 2, make sure you're working on the spelling because that is not inside the other packets. It's separate. So it's easy to forget about it. So do the spelling. Get as much of those as you can get done. There's 6 groups of 5. So there's 30 words total. And just make sure you're working on those items. In the packet they got is cursive for their name. So I'm going to practice that first. Parents, you're more than welcome to watch this video, but it's mainly for your children. If you want to learn cursive and don't know it, feel free to watch. I'll do a different cursive video when we start learning all the letters of the alphabet and writing words. But for now, they just need to know their names. So I'm going to work on that first. Kids, you will need paper and pencil, and you'll need your clock and your folder with any papers in it, possibly. That way you can refer to those if you need to. But those are the items you need. Paper, pencil, clock, and papers in your folder. You'll need your packet too, because we're going to practice your name right now. So I'll go through each name. That way you'll know how it is written. So I'm going to start with Silas. Silas's name is, make sure you're ready, Silas, and watch me first, and then you practice on your page. Always watch first and then do it. So the S starts down here, Silas, at the bottom of the line on your notebook paper. And you go up and you loop. That's an S, capital S. Now for the capital connecting to a lowercase with your name, you don't have to connect them, but you can. And notice this tail, all the letters have a tail on the end of them. It is midway. It's not going to be down here. It's not way up here. It's kind of in the middle. And so if you connect it, your I is going to look like this. We'll dot last, but I went ahead and dotted it. Always dot your I's and cross your T's last. So I connected the I. Notice how it connects midway. The L, the A, for the A, C, and O. So for A's, C's, and O's, when you're connecting them, you go over halfway. Then you come back around. And then you connect to the letter next to it. So it's all connected. It's one fluid motion. And then the B, some of them get real fancy. I'm not worried about like all these little loops and things that are at the top, or sometimes in the O, they have this big O loop. I'm not concerned about those. That's a certain style of writing, and we're not studying styles. We're just studying the basics. So there's the B for capital B. A, go over halfway, come back around, make your circle, connect. The X is like that. It's kind of like a snake. And then the T, E, R. So we do our X, T's, I's, and all that last. So that is how that is done for Silas. So Silas, make sure you're practicing that on the rest of your packet while I go over these others. Joseph, you're next. So you're starting on the bottom of the blue line, Joseph, with your J. And it's J, and you go below the blue line, so it kind of looks like that. If you want to connect it better, it's that. And then O, you go over halfway, go around. Your tail is at the top, so your S is going to look like it's being a little hijacked in the air. Instead of your S looking like this, it's going to be something similar to that. Okay, it's going to be a little hijacked up. So it looks kind of strange, but that's just the way it is. So, and you'll see on your paper, might be better on your paper than my writing. And then P, your P isn't connected, so don't try connecting it. And then the A, R, M, E, R. This R is not the greatest. So you might have to watch this several times before you see the flow. 3 humps on the M. E is super easy. E. L is super easy. It's just a taller version of E. If you ever do an L. P is easy. Looks just like the P. H is pretty easy. Looks just like the H. Just remember to connect everything with your tail. So Joseph, pause the video, practice that and do your packet. Then Kevin, you have a little loop. Not too concerned about the loop, but that's your one leg of your K. And then you come over here and you do that. This is the blue line. I apologize if it's at an angle. I don't have lines to go by on my board. Then the E, you can connect them. So this is your V. Some people do their V's like that. The way that it's on your packet, they do it like this. I prefer this way, but on your packet it's that way. And then your P isn't connected. It's A, R, R. So pause that, watch it multiple times if you need to, and practice your name. Braden. A B can be done like that, or you can make it fancy. And then the R, A, go over halfway. Same with the D, you go over halfway, you go up. You can leave a loop on the D, or you could just close it. Go over halfway for the O. The N connects here. So instead of an N having 2 humps, it's going to look like 1. It's going to connect up top. Okay, for N. And then Holt is H, O. You got to go over halfway when you do the O. L. See, the L is up high because that's where the O connects. And T. You can close up your T, or you can leave it like that. I like it closed. Holt. The O is connected to the H. And you'll get your own style of writing whenever you do it. Writing is like a fingerprint. Everyone's handwriting is unique. So pause the video, finish that on your packet. Colt. So Colt, another thing is that they do this little fancy loop at the top. That's what you'll see on your packet. It's not necessary. A C, a cap, or a cursive C looks just like a regular C, except for it's connected to whatever else. So go over halfway for the O. Your L is going to connect up top, so it's kind of in the ear, and then connect your T, cross your T. I'm setting at an angle, so my stuff is not going to be straight. H, O, P, the K is tricky. I, N, S. So K's are tricky because a regular K looks like that, but a cursive K, it's closed. These two things are closed and it's taller. So a K looks like that, kind of like a big R with extra stuff to it. So pause the video if you need to practice that. You really need to watch and then try to do it yourself because it's fast. Shayla, your name is going to be like this. So S, H, A, go over halfway, Y, L, A. So the Y is very similar to a regular Y. Some of the cursive might have you go like this. I connect right there. I do these Y's, some of them do those Y's, sort of like the V, how they added that extra hump. I don't remember on this one what it looked like on the packet. And Shayla, your name's different because in your last name you have two capitals. So M, C, and then you have an N. So see how I connected it? I connected the tail and then I did the N. A, I, R. Sometimes my R's are a little rounded. You'll get your own style. They're not supposed to be rounded. They're supposed to look like that for R. So it's always tricky if you have two capitals. And like I said, these aren't necessary. I use them on some letters I don't. So pause the video, practice your name on those packets. And then Ellie. E's are really neat. I like E's. So some people are real frilly with their E's. Some people just do this. Some people just do that. I wouldn't do this because then it looks all kinds of wild. So whichever one you are comfortable with. I don't do E's very often, as you can tell. L, L, I, E. I should have waited to dot it. Pretty simple with the LLs and the I's and the E's. And then your last name. Looks just like a regular G, except for you have this tail and it actually goes like that. So you're closing it all up and connecting it. And these are needed. They don't have to be that big, but you have to do some sort of loop on the H. I mean, it could be that simple. It could be that big. As long as it has to be there. because it's just easier to write. And the E is connecting up here in the mid section. Not too high, definitely not down low. And you can't do R's like that. You have to separate them. Most letters are separated by that when they're connecting down below. See how this is connecting there, there's connecting there, that's connecting there. You have to have this space in the middle of these letters. So pause and practice that. And then Birdie. Birdie, your name is long. So it's B R O. And your D is going to connect up high. Go over halfway, go up, down, I, E. H, U. See, the U connects midway. T, C, H, I, S, O, N, dot, cross. Make sure on your H's they look like an H and not a K, like that. Because some people don't close up their K, and so sometimes it might look like an H. O connects to the N up high, so you only have a partial hump and another one. S is nothing like that, right? So you gotta go like that. Some letters look nothing like their print. So pause the video and practice that on your packets. The packets are not very time consuming, so it's easy to finish those pretty quickly. All right, so remember Monday, all the packets that are in the writing folder are due regardless of the date listed on them. All right, so you'll need your clock, any papers that might be in your folder. The students did this in class where they labeled the clock. Keep doing that at home. So on your paper, let's do that now. Draw some circles. Draw them big enough because your minutes and hours have to go on it. I didn't draw them big enough on the last group. And then get however many you want on there. Make sure you have room to write. And then do your o'clock first. The minutes, o'clock. We don't say 00, we say o'clock. And then do your quarters. Should know what this is. This one is 15. You should be doing this as I'm doing it. 15. 15. And this is 45. 45. 45. This is half past, right? Which is 30. So this is o'clock. Make sure you label it. This is quarter past. If I'm going too fast, that's the great thing about videos. Just pause it and then start it back up. And this is why I said you need space, because we're labeling the clock. So all the o'clocks are labeled in quarter past. Make sure you label those. And what's the 30? Do you remember? Half past. So write that. Half past. And what's the 45? Well, if you need help, all this is on there. It's already on there for you, besides the o'clock one. Quarter to, quarter until, quarter before. It all means the same. You'll see quarter to later. So if you want to use that, you can. Quarter to, quarter to, and quarter to. And then fill in the rest of your clocks. Remember, you need 2 more tick marks in between the ones that we've already done. All the way around. Should have 12 pieces. And then fill them in. 5, 10, 20, 25, 35, 40, 50, 55. So finish filling all those in. Just like you did on this sheet. I'll probably keep passing this out over and over again. And we did it on this sheet too. You can do this on all your sheets, so that way you can have it just like that. You should know these just like that off the top of your head. Shouldn't have to think about it or guess. Should just know it. So one way to practice with your clock and with a friend or an adult or a parent, whoever is quizzing you can hold it and say, okay, tell me how many minutes is the 10? And you should say 50. How many minutes at the 4? You should say 20. And if you get it wrong, the person should say, try again. We need to know these automatically. If you're studying on your own, then you do that. You just, how many minutes is it the 1? And you say it 5. You see if you're right. And we talk out loud, we think out loud. That's why you always hear me talking out loud with what I'm doing. We have to be able to hear it to make it stick longer. So remember, the hour hand is the little hand, minute hand is the long hand. Most of you already know this and did really well in math on this. Also, another thing that we will do whenever we become more fluent in math is I will tell you how many tick marks after one of these numbers. So see all the little tick marks here? Yep. So on a clock, if I say 3 after 12, and we're just looking at minutes, we're not looking at the hour. So this hour doesn't matter. And I do 3 after the 12. So there's 1 tick mark, 2, 3. How many minutes is that? Well, 12 is o'clock. And then 3 tick marks would be 1, 2, 3. So it's 3 minutes. If I said 4 tick marks after the 3, I have this. Well, 3 is 15, so 4 tick marks would be 19. And I did this with the bigger group, and they did really well. If I said 3 after the 9, it would be 48. Because you're just adding whatever number I say to the minute that the 9 would be. The 9 is 45, you're adding 3, so you get 48. If I said 2 after the 7, well, it's 35. Add 2 more, so you're at 37. If I said 1 after the 11, you should automatically remember 11 is 55. 1 more would be 56. And that's what I'm looking for. We do it with speed, and we do it with accuracy, and we do it verbally. It's not even on paper. They write their answer down very quickly on a whiteboard. And it's so I can check for fluency. Fluency is the main goal in math, knowing it automatically. We'll learn to understand it first. They understand the clock. Now it's time to memorize the clock. So if I said 4 after 5, how many minutes would you have? Well, you got to remember the 5 is 25. Add 4 more, you're at 29. So let's see if you can do that. What would be 2 after 8? Write your answer down. You should automatically know it's 42. What about 1 after 11? In which we already did that, right? It was 56. What about 3 after 6? How many minutes would that be? Well, 6 is 30. Add 3. You get 33. So that's the kind of exercises you should be doing at home after you learn the clock and all of its details and minutes and hours. Minutes is the main thing, guys, because your clock already has the hour, so I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on the minutes. And also where your hands are going when you do your clocks. Because as we can tell, when the hour goes by, the hour hand is moving on its own. With this clock, we have to move it ourselves. But on a regular clock and this clock, when you move the minutes, see, your hour hand is moving. So when you're half past, it's in between 10 and 11. When you are a quarter past, it's just a tad bit past the 10. When you are a quarter to 11, your hour hand is really close to 11. And it gets closer and closer. And look, it looks like it's at the 11 because these are overlapping, but it's not quite. It's just a tad bit before it. And then the closer, the closer, the closer. Now we're back at 11. So you need to know how to draw your hands on the clocks. Okay. So for instance, put your dot in your clocks so we can do some times. Now you can label yours, but you might be good enough where you don't have to label them because you already know where they're at. But if you label your hours, do that now. If you know where the hours are automatically, then great. So let's do on this one 7:58. I already know where my 9 is and my 8. So the first thing I want to do are the minutes. We always do minutes first because that prompts us on knowing where to draw our hour hand. So 58. My minute hand is going to be right near the 12. Right near the 12, like that. Okay? And then my hour hand is going to be practically on the 8. Remember, your minute hand is long, your hour hand is short. So it's extremely close to the 8. Over here, if we did 302, so 302, we do the minutes first. Minutes is long, and it is right past the 12. And it's on the 3 because it is barely moved. So that's 302. So that's a little bit about drawing the time to the minute. So they did these pages, hour, quarter hour, to the 5 minutes, and then to the minute. Most of them did really well because the tick marks are there. Then the next page that they did was AM or PM. That was in the last video, and they wrote what ante-meridian means and post-meridian, meridian. So ante means morning, night, in the middle of the night. Post-meridian is midday or afternoon. And then when they come back from school, they're going to get these pages. And what it is it gives you a scenario. You underline your key word that tells you if it's AM or PM. They already did the clock for you. You just have to write the digital time and circle AM or PM. So, for example, the first one said, Fred watered his garden this morning. What time did he water his garden? What time does it look like? And the key word is morning. So it would be 8 here, and then you circle AM. And they're all pretty much the same scenario, but the clocks change. So it's pretty consistent and easy for them to follow. So those are to like the hour, half hour, the quarter. And then we have some that are to the 5 minutes. So they go along with the other pages, just in a different way. And then the last page is minute to minute, where they have the little tick marks and the clock. They have to count the minutes. And like I said, they'll see this page again. And then they will also need to know time is not just given in letter or in numbers and pictures. Time is also given in words. So they'll receive a paper like this, and the first one says quarter to 5, keyword being 2. Okay? So pause the video and wonder and look at your clock and see what time would it be if it's a quarter to 5. And see if you get the same answer as me. So you should get 4:45. Anytime you have a quarter to, it's this, 45. And it's to 5. So is it 5 yet? It is not 5 yet. It's 15 minutes to, or a quarter to 5. And that's how you get the 4 for the hour. And then there's some that are real easy, like 9 o'clock. So it'll be 9:00. And then we have some that say half past. To me, the kids know those. The quarters, maybe not as much. And then we have one that says number 9. It says 10 minutes after 8. So it tells you the minutes. So you just go ahead and write that down. After. Does it say before? No, it says after. So is it already 8 or is it 7? It's 8. And then one says 20 minutes before 7 before. So we can't do 20 minutes here. That would be incorrect. It's before. Well, how many minutes are in an hour? There's 60. So 20 minutes before would be how many? 40. And it says before 7. So it's not 7 yet. So your time would be 6:40. So you have to know how many minutes are an hour and how to subtract those minutes when it's written like this. So they will do stuff like that. And then they'll take that sheet and they will connect it to another page. And it's in this learning target packet. It says learning targets at the top. They'll take those times, there's 10 clocks, and they'll take these times, because there's 10 on the page, and they'll write the time and draw it. Write, draw on that. So when you see that, that's what that is. And they'll be doing a lot of, the time is given on this page, and they draw it. The time is already drawn, so they'll give it in digital form. And then eventually, maybe we'll get to elapsed time, which is a little harder. So you have to know how to add and subtract with those minutes and know how many hours are in, or minutes are in an hour. And they'll also start doing pages in this book. So the third group is ahead, of course. But this is what the pages look like. And this will be a good study guide for them. And that's why we do the composition notebook. They haven't done theirs yet. So these pages will be glued in there. Group 3 has already gotten that far. Group 3 is way further than everyone else. All right, well, I hope you all have a great night. Watch this video over and over and over again until you become fluent in doing time in multiple ways. In words, mentally, all the ways that I just showed you. And I hope to see everyone on Monday. Don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions. Good night.